education people, but these are written by school students. And you see the way even the topic becomes very mind-boggling for us. Why can't we all aspire to do? I'm not saying we should copy them blindly. There are so many things that we can do in a beautiful state of Goa, in a wonderful country. So the point of showing this slide is we need to promote research like anything with our students, but it starts with improving the quality of ourselves in the context of our foundation of research. Now, to prove that point, the Goa State Research Foundation was established by the government of Goa to promote research. Why? Because research is important. GSRF is all about research, 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 nothing but research. We don't provide guideship for PhD scholars, but we assist in funding, whether it's through, I will show that to you a little later, but it's across the state, all levels, including schools. It's across all disciplines, whether it's your education, arts, engineering, medicine, dentistry, et al. Through various ways, we have 23 objectives. All 23 objectives of Goa State Research Foundation, as available in the Gazette of Goa, are on research. The point what I'm trying to make here is, research is essential, whatever be the segment you belong to. So let us not dwell here anymore. Now let us see some of the errors that we see in research projects. And research projects, when I say, it could be your major research project, minor research project, it could be any project or paper or PhD as well. Scope. And this is now basically meant for all of you. I've seen some PhDs and of course many projects where for scope, the explanation is as follows. What is the explanation? This study has a broad scope. Full stop. Over. That's it. They have got their PhD with this. They have got very high marks with this. But is that the meaning of the word scope? So let us today go with the understanding that scope is a word standing for the boundaries that you lay for your title, for your project, or for your PhD study. That means what you have mentioned in that boundary, it could be a line, it could be a paragraph, is what you're telling the readers, the evaluators, the world, that this is what I'm going to do. That means what you have not mentioned is not part of your job. They also make a second paragraph. Now this is not a mandatory one. Now there are two schools of thought with regards to this matter. One para to explain what you are doing is essential, because your title cannot explain everything. So scope is something which ensures you're telling the reader or the evaluator, this is what I'm doing. Now if you wish to, second para, you can make what you are therefore not doing. And what you're not doing should not come as, an apology note in limitations. Limitations are only obstacles or issues that you faced, which you're citing there, which you're forewarning anybody else who may replicate your study. See, this you also will face if you're doing the similar study. I didn't have that big sample, I didn't have time to go there. Those words are not meant to come in limitation. That should not come at all, because you are choosing a study deliberately. So make an attempt to make it foolproof. Why apologize what you have not done? So if your coverage area is a particular thing, you mention in scope, this is my coverage area. You want to be more safe and there's no problem of word limitation, then make another para if you wish to, not mandatory. Here you can specify what you are there for. Therefore, I'm using the word therefore, not doing. But the second part is not essential because the first part is the critical part. So, something about scope. Now, sampling. I have a problem whenever I would go to conduct interviews at the university level or even at the college level. Because teachers or the applicants for posts, they would always say, we have conducted a project, we wrote a paper. And they write, we had a random sample, of so many. So I would ask them, what is the meaning of random sample? And teachers, many of them have become teachers now, they would tell me random sample is randomly we take somebody from the population. But that's not the meaning of randomly taking. It's misuse of the play of words. Random sample has to be something where each and every element of the population having an equal chance of being part of your study. So if you're using convenient sampling, then your entire study is horrible, not worth at all. Even if by chance it gets published, it has got no meaning. Because your sample, the size and the way you choose the sample, both things are important. So your findings for the sample should be appropriate to draw conclusions for the population. But if your sample is faulty, either in terms of choice or in terms of size, then your findings are not meant for the remaining population. Of course, convenient sampling, we can use it in the context of maybe health economics. Now, my study of HIV/AIDS, I don't know the population size. Nobody knows. There's no sampling frame. So we have to use alternatives of non-probability sampling, including maybe snowballing and maybe convenient and so on. But other than these type of studies, we need to focus that our students always go for probability-based sampling, and of which random is the main one, which is a wonderful one, and with its sub-varieties. Review of literature is something, is a big cause of concern. Many times students feel, or those who are doing PhD, they feel, my topic nobody has done. Maybe because they're thinking of only the area. Now, for example, somebody wants to do a study on Farmagudi area. Nobody may have done on Farmagudi area. That doesn't become original, because somebody may have done it in the Ponda area. Somebody may have done it in Margao or London or Delhi or Mumbai. So review of literature is so very essential to show that you are aware what others have done and what they have not done, or how they have done, and therefore you're pinpointing the gap in other studies, and therefore you're saying this is therefore my study therefore is very, very critical. These things which I'm going to do and the way I'm going to do has not been done by anybody else. Very important. And if I always want to tell so many students, if your paper or your project or your PhD or your article does not talk about review of literature, it's not a good paper. Tomorrow somebody can challenge you and say this has been done and you're not aware of it. Sometimes there are teachers who, even I've seen some PhDs, the review of literature, there's no citation. Or citations are in review of literature, but in the introduction chapter where you're bombarding with data and definitions, there's no citation there. So research scholars who are present here must know that whether it's your introduction, first page, or your last page of conclusion, whichever place you have copied something or used something belonging to somebody else, even yourself if it is, you have to cite from whom it is. Many times citations are there only for that chapter, review of literature, not elsewhere. That means elsewhere you can plagiarize? You cannot. So anywhere in your work, if you have used somebody else's definition, data, idea, findings, you may change the words, but still it doesn't become yours. So please, we need to have this review of literature cited properly as well. And one more thing that is noticed in many of these publications or theses is anything that is listed in your review of literature has to invariably be there in your text. And anything that you mention in your chapters, whichever it may be, including review of literature, has invariably to appear in your reference list. But we find many times what you're mentioning in your main text, though you are citing, details are not there in references. So it's useless. Very useless. And to make matters worse, okay, anyway, Bibliography, still some are using bibliography. Now we don't use bibliography anymore. Bibliography, as we all know, maybe the M.Ed students for your benefit, bibliography is a list of sources that you have read and used, read and did not use in your chapters, or didn't read also, but those sources have matter related to your topic. Now why to put that big list? It can run to 300 pages. And no publisher will publish you with so many pages. So what we therefore do is, we use always reference list. That means you have read and use it in your text. And there are various style sheets. I'm not going into those details now. Each one has got their own preference of style sheet. But one question of worry for me on a personal note is, many times I see a section after the reference list called as web links. What is the meaning of web links? I don't know. They put the full link what they have got something. Now what is the use of putting that web link there? How do I know whether that link, even if I go through that, which part you have copied? See, if that web link gave you an article with an author and a title of a paper, it should come in your reference list. In the text should come as a citation, thus so and so, or Fernandez so and so, or Nike so and so, or Falleiro so and so. Correct? Yeah. A web link doesn't solve that. I've seen some little low type of quality of papers where, because they have copied from a source which doesn't have an author, that's the time they put web links. There's no author. Author's name sometimes is not available on the net. So either they put under W as a surname www or HTTPS, which is wrong, because references should only be for names of people or organizations. World Bank, UNO, RBI. It can come in that alphabetical order. But www should not come in alphabetical order. So, a reference list, if the online source had an author, author's name will come in your reference list. Citation will be the surname of the author. But the question to you, I'm posing to you, the audience, if the source that you got online is without the name of an author or organization, but wonderful inputs you got, how will you ensure you cite it properly? Putting in web link is not solution. I don't know which paragraph of your 40 pages, 50 pages, 200 pages was copied from. You're flouting plagiarism now. So what should be done? And I hope all of you know, plagiarism is a very serious violation. Around 5 years back, UGC came with guidelines, published guidelines, that if a teacher is caught, increments are stopped. If teacher is involved in plagiarism, even through their students, your promotion can be stopped and ultimately teacher can be suspended and removed. So these are serious violations. And of course fines can be there if the author is a foreigner. Pay in dollars. So best is you have to be sure you are not plagiarizing. But how do we work out on a source which has no author? Web links, as I told you, we scrap it off. If you put the link at the end of the para or sentence that you have copied, that link will look very comical and unprofessional. So the links will be 3-4 lines. Your project, your thesis should look good. So one option, dear friends, is to make use of superscripts. At the end of the para or the sentence where you have copied from a source which has got no author or an institution, put number 1, number 2, make it superscript. At the end of the chapter, make notes. Below that you put number 1, whichever number you had given, and say retrieve from or as found in so and so link. And notes font is always smaller than your regular font. It will be around 10 or 11. So this will look, your publication, your thesis will look so very professionally done. And you're avoiding that absurd thing called as web links. And if you stop web links, it's going to be good because the future generations or future batches of students will know that there's nothing called as web links. Now, if you go to any college or even at the university level, I've seen some of those dissertations, they're putting web links. Why? They copied the previous years. And the previous years copied the earlier years. So, this has to stop somehow. Questionnaire related, it's a big task for us. So many issues are there. I gave you an example of that junk food consumption, 0 to 11. And there are so many numerous things that we need to take care. Should we use it as a schedule? Should we use it as a questionnaire? Do we need to take consent? Of course, consent, informed consent is required. Ethical clearances are required, but that is not part of my thing today. Maybe that will come under that OA 40 that you can ask later about the ethical consent that is nowadays required. How we frame questions, is it reliable, for reliability, validity, all these things we need to take care. But unfortunately, what happens sometimes in the quest of time, it's like question paper. All of us have set question papers who are teachers. How fast do we set question papers at university? 3 sets, 4 sets, we can do it. Just change a little bit, question paper is ready. Is that the way how to set the question paper? That's not the way. Where is the blueprint? It's not there. Same thing can happen in the context of questionnaire. We throw that validity, reliability, Cronbach alpha, anything what it is there, irrespective of the department you belong to the dustbin. And we ask questions in a very unscientific way, and very unscientifically, the sample elements will give you the responses, and the conclusions that you draw, you yourself will not be happy. So what happens? It's a waste of time of everybody. So we need to be a little careful if our study involves questionnaires. But I would not say fortunately or unfortunately, because each one has got their own way. Certain departments, including education, may not require. Of course, certain topics of theirs you still do require questionnaires to seek the opinion and the responses from sample elements. Plagiarism, I've already told you, it's a big no. We have to ensure we do not copy. Many times, I find somebody who has written a, say, PhD, has got a PhD, or somebody who has written a minor research project, they just change the title little bit, use the same data, and say this is a new paper. This is unethical, completely unethical. We cannot change little bit and say this is a new paper and then say we have 20 papers. If you are caught into this self-plagiarism, it's as serious as your regular plagiarism. So we should not think that it's my paper, I have published it, I will change, I want to get guest points, I will get promotions, I have so many papers. Cannot be. Self-plagiarism is also a strict no. Number of objectives. Another thing that many times students and teachers and supervisors and research scholars and MEd students may have a doubt on. How many objectives should be there for your PhD? How many objectives should be there for your undergraduate project? How many should be there for X, Y, Z, whatever? So this is a issue of maybe each one's subjectivity, but at the end of the day, we need to ensure that we don't overdo certain things. Some PhDs I've seen, they put 10, 12 objectives, which is not supposed to be. So for a PhD, though it's not a written rule, tomorrow you'll question who told you. Of course you have the freedom. We are in a free country. But we need to talk responsibly. So in the context of PhD, a regular PhD, in any field, you're supposed to have maybe around 5 objectives. Can you have 6? Of course. Who stops you? Can you have 4? Of course. There's no fixed number here. It's like when economics people teach about oligopoly. It's supposed to be a market with few sellers and many buyers. Few sellers. What is that few? There's no definition to what is that few. And sometimes these questions don't have a right answer or a wrong answer. And I like to always share what a second standard student once told his teacher in a school. It's a fact. This particular boy in the second standard was making noise. So the teacher wanted that boy to be kept quiet. So the teacher asked him, I'll ask you a question, please answer, or you'll have to get your parent tomorrow. That's the easiest way, how teachers keep students quiet. So the question that was raised was, second standard, what is 1 and 1? And the student says, 11. Is it right? No. Is it wrong? No. So teacher got more furious. So the teacher asked this boy, okay, another question, tell me 2 days of the week, starting with letter T. And the boy says, Miss, simple, today and tomorrow. Was he right? No. Was he wrong? No. Teacher got more furious. Okay, last question to you. How many sides are there for a circle? And the boy says, Miss, 2 sides, inside and outside. Not wrong, but not right either. So when we talk about the number of objectives, there's no right or wrong answer. But we should not have 20 or 10 or 12. And even for PhD, and now as Shri Ashwin Lavande will tell you, for ladies you can go up to 10 years based on certain conditions that you may go through. In spite of that, around 4 to 5 are fine, because you can have sub-objectives. There's no problem, but don't have too many. And sometimes we find undergraduate college, third-year project, they have 8, 9 objectives. When they're finishing in 6 months' time the project paper, absurd. So that's about objectives. Then parametric, non-parametric, some of you will need to use, maybe not in education field but elsewhere. When to use parametric tools, when to use non-parametric tools, we ourselves as research scholars and research guides will need to do. And I must tell the research scholars here, whoever is present, everything you cannot expect your research guide to tell you. The PhD is yours, not of the guide. Guide is there to facilitate. You want to use a particular tool, you need to do study. And you have so many means now with the internet to self-study. Why can't we do that? Had you done medicine and say became a doctor in the year 2000, now we are in 2025. Don't doctors do self-study to know the newer medicines, the newer technology, newer techniques? They don't go back to GMC. Why can't we as teachers learn new software, new techniques for analysis? So whether you are a research scholar or a research guide, we can use tools. We are in the lucky time of ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, Google. I asked, yesterday one group of students, what is the meaning of Google? And they didn't know. They said search engine. Search engine, of course, all know. I asked them, can you tell me how the word Google was derived? One student told me, I was so pleased. And dear friends, sometimes students have brilliant ideas. Brilliant. I'll give you one example because it's related to this issue of research-minded. Because we need to support students sometimes. They know sometimes more than us. So I asked the student, Google is come from the word Google. I told them first, don't Google and check. So the Google, the borrowed word, is a number 1 followed by 100 zeros. How we have 1 and 7 zeros as a crore, 1 and 100 zeros is the Google. So Google borrowed that term to show the hundreds of options available on the net for whatever study you want to. So through this Google, we can do so much of self-studies, whether to use parametric, non-parametric. Whenever I go for national conferences, the question of the research guides is guides, not students. When do we use parametric tools? When do we use non-parametric tools? They don't know. So we need to know that. If I can help in any way after this session, anytime, please feel free to contact. I'll be happy to keep in touch with you. Number is there with the principal and others. I can also share if you wish to. Now, errors seen in research proposals. As I was telling you, we fund so many projects, and this is what we get from teachers who maybe in large numbers are already having PhD. One is they don't read the guidelines. So what comes is contrary to what the guidelines tell you. Guidelines tell you don't do this. This is what's to be done, and they will do exactly what's not to be done. Wasted opportunity. Can we be so unscientific? Why can't we read? You know, there was one important exam. This is a fact what I'm telling you. Maybe around 20-25 years back. Question paper for a very, very top position had around 100 questions. And they gave you only 1.5 hours for it. And they start with the first instruction, please read all questions properly. Time is 1.5 hours. These are the marks that you have to get. Okay? So time is a critical. 100 questions. Thought comes to you. What are these? Are they trying to make fun of us? We require so much time. Not even 1 minute per question. Anyway, they started writing like anything. It was a huge pay package also. Finally, the best one reached only 60th. Only the 60th. There was only one person who passed that test, though there were so many, job opportunities. You know why? The last question was answer only the 99th question. Instruction was already there. Read all questions first. But they didn't read anything, thinking that 1.5 hours is not enough. They started with 1, 2, 3, 4. It was not required. And even if they got those right, they were not counted. Because the last question was, answer only the 99th question. So my point to you is, we don't read instructions properly. Sometimes we are so confident that confidence is good. But overconfidence is absolutely bad. I'll ask some questions to our MAD students, just to alert, to see our confidence levels. I'll ask you a simple problem. Stupid problem actually. But I want you to answer me without writing down the numbers. Okay? Who are the MAD students here? Just raise your hands. Okay. Others are welcome to answer now. Imagine you are in a train. The train has got 100 passengers. Got it? MAD students. Next station, 20 enter, 20 get down. Next station, 10 enter, nobody gets down. Next station, nobody enters, 10 get down. Next, 25 enter, nobody gets down. Next, 25 enter, nobody gets down. Next, nobody enters, 50 get down. Sure? Yes. Fantastic. What was my question? I only did this. Did I ask for anything? My question is going to be, how many stations were there? I think we need to be confident, but not overconfident. Okay? Improper budgeting. When we ask for proposals, say for major research project, 25 lakhs. Do you know that 99% of the proposals that we get are exactly for 25 lakhs? To the rupee they calculate 25 lakhs. But reviewers feel, experts, that 8 lakhs is enough for you. So why are we putting improper budget? Can't we budget properly? It's taxpayers' money. It's government money. Why can't we be more accountable? So whenever, dear friends, you apply for a project, whether with GSRF or anybody, use proper budgeting norms. We cannot be unrealistic. Absence of justification. Why you want that much money? You should tell why you want that money. And when you are told also, please justify why you want this money for equipment or for this or for that or for field work or for travel. You need to tell why you want. If you don't tell, which you are asked to, then why should the money be given? And this is one reason why, money gets chopped of people, of applicants, both students or teachers. Unreasonable time frame. We don't have a proper time frame. Sometimes, even for students, dissertation, you require something of 2 years to complete, but you have got only 7 months to finish your academic year. So why should you take a topic which requires 2 years? And then, these issues come because we are not able to complete certain things. Now, I've told you, ladies get up to 10 years as per the latest ordinance to complete PhD. Of course, it's because of maternity leave and all those type of things. But even if they don't need that, the more time you give, you delay the starting of your project. Why can't it be finished in lesser time? Why do we always wait for the last minute? And students do the same thing afterwards. So we need to be very conscious of the time frame. No proofreading is done. The first copy is the last copy, which is not acceptable. Last minute submissions, maybe like the junk food. They give it after the last day, but it's taken because of humanitarian reasons. But the name of the guide, the name of the college will always be in black letters. So please, we'll follow the timelines that are given. We have to be scientific. If you have noticed your teachers, many times our students come late to class, or they don't come to class, much later they come. How many times have we told them that timing is very, very essential? If a fire brigade comes late by 2 minutes, or an ambulance on the road which for somebody's accident comes late by 5 minutes, why don't we excuse them? They may have gone for tea, they must be tired. We criticize them, we stone them, but we don't practice the same punctuality ourselves. And for me, as a teacher, as a student of research, punctuality and discipline is most essential. There's no compromise on this. We see that, there is an aversion amongst proponents about collaborations. Each one wants to put a proposal on one own name. Even if collaborations are permitted, you want to put on one own name. It doesn't become strong proposal. If you have a collaboration, let the name go, get spread. Why do you want single authorship? Let it be multiple authorship. So this is something that we need to look at. Title, sometimes I have seen just 2 words, Mahatma Gandhi. What of Mahatma Gandhi are you studying? You need to tell that. Indian economy. What of Indian economy are you doing? Special focus on what? You need to put that in your title. On the other extreme, I have seen PhD thesis. People have become doctors already. The title is around 40 words. Paragraph. The title is a paragraph. Can a title be with those many words? Of course, they got PhD. There's no dispute about it. We are not saying it was a bad project. But there is something called as a professional approach for everything. It should look good. So how many words should a PhD thesis have? Nothing written. But it's expected, a norm, unwritten norm, that a thesis should be, say, between 10 to 15 words. Tomorrow you can challenge me, that's wrong. Of course I'm wrong. Because nowhere it's written it's 10 to 15. But that's the unwritten rule that it should be 10 to 15. Can it be 9? Can it be 8? Of course it can be. Can it be 11? Sure. 16? Definitely. But it should be preferably not too long, and it should not be too short, like Mahatma Gandhi. And the title should try to tell as much as possible in as few words as to what your study is all about. And what you can't tell in your title, because it will be too long otherwise, where will you tell? Scope. Scope will tell you the entire thing. Next one is, we'll come to this. We'll quickly see this. Now these are regarding opportunities, just to show what one organization is providing you. We have schemes, fellowships for doctoral, so MAd students if you want to do full-time PhD. Put up your application during that notification period. You will get up to, as of today, 27,000 rupees a month. You do it through other sources like UGC, you'll get more, much more. So we provide up to that much. For postdoctoral fellowship, if your application is good, to do only studying after your PhD, and there's no degree here after PhD, it's only a study. You get 60,000 rupees a month for 2 years plus 2 lakhs rupees extra to meet your other requirements. Why can't we take it? So we can think of it that way as well. Then we have grants. So we have 6 schemes of grants. I will share those things with you. We go for workshops, and we have other things all related to research, though we are less than 2 years young or old, you may say. We have not even reached 2 years of actual functioning of the office. Now these are the grants that we have. Major research, permanent teachers can apply, with collaborating with anybody, BITS and GYM and NIT and whoever you want, GYM, you can come up with it. But what we observe is, many times, people put only single name. It makes it weak afterwards. So there we give you up to 25 lakhs. Minor research grant is up to 4 lakhs. And your college, also this college has got beneficiaries. So congratulations to them. Research startup is for permanent teachers in the first 2 years of service in a college. Not to come with a startup, but to start your career on a way that you will be into research in years to come. Just to establish some equipment for you, there we give you up to 5 lakhs for research startup. No compulsion of publication, nothing. But you should not cross 2 years after being on a full-time post. Summer winter school, that is to showcase your facilities, showcase or use the resources of your faculty, to bring in school students, college students from elsewhere, how PS College and Pharmacy College have nicely done, and so many colleges are doing as well, including Savio's and I think GVM also. This is to bring students in their free time during vacations, to see something about the college, to kindle their minds on research in any field. It could be English, it could be on education, it could be on research, it could be geology, pharmacy, anything. So there we give up to 2.5 lakhs for a 10-day program. Minimum number of days is 5. Now these schemes are all closed, but the green ones are open. So whether it's for GVM College of Education or all those institutions which you belong to. The first one, that IRIS LD. Not to take time, I'll just take short form, IRIS LD. This is a scheme which is open where you have to identify a problem. As Shri Khandeparkar sir has already mentioned, bold areas which need to be looked into. Identify the problem, come with a solution within a year. Involve your students. The main person has to be a teacher. You get up to 10 lakhs of rupees. I'm not saying this because you should get money. I'm saying this because we need solutions for so many things that we need to have. We simply can't blame this one, that one, that one. So scheme is open. Come, identify a problem of any nature. Any nature, it could be in education as well. And try to find a solution through collaborative work, because it's interdisciplinary. And you get up to that 10 lakhs of rupees. Please apply. You need more information. Do keep in touch. Next one is a new scheme, toss drill. Again, sir mentioned, Shri Khandeparkar, he mentioned that skills are dying, maybe because of over-focus on the Western culture. This scheme now is for you, the proponents, to document certain skills or occupations or culture, like the costume, the dress, the sari, which is going into extinction. You document it, and if possible, highlight how it can be revived. Revive not only to protect that item, but to revive also the economic earnings of those people, which otherwise are going down. So we give here up to 5 lakhs of rupees. This is also open. Please feel free to apply. Toss drill and IRIS LD. Both are good for our state. Do something for our state. Now the challenge is, one of the last slides, what you as PhD scholars will have. One is about AI, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. Please use it by all means. Nobody is saying not to use it, but don't misuse it. Don't depend on it. Some of the proposals that we received for major research, minor research, which went to the reviewers from outside Goa, they replied back, this entire proposal is AI plagiarized. Such a shame. We don't make it public. Why can't we be more ethical? So let us use AI and whatever tools are there for our advantage. Let's not make it to do things for us. Ethical violations. So plagiarism is one of them. A paper of mine which I already got points or whatever, I'm changing some word here and some introduction there and saying this is my fresh paper. Wrong, unethical. So we need to be very, very careful on these ethical violations. Imagine also, dear students, you need a sample of say 100 or 1000 for one particular thing where you know the population. Randomly you have to choose. Randomly takes time. Randomly is very scientific. It's taxing. And therefore you take a shortcut. You just take whoever you get in the market and put as 1000 and write the word random sampling. You've told a lie. Don't do it. We have to be very, very conscious. We should not get into unethical things. Imagine pharmaceutical companies did this way. How many deaths would have happened? So we expect them to be ethical, but we many times are unethical. We have to have the same norms for all. Choice of topic. How to choose a topic? Big, big question. Sometimes research scholars ask the teacher, Miss, sir, give me a topic, no? See, topic always has to come from a research scholar. And the topic should be something which is close to your heart, because you'll be working probably for 10 years. You'll be working day and night for that PhD. So it should be of something of interest to you. At the same time, benefit to the society. I made a mention of it in my later on slide. So how do you get a topic? You have, as we said, Google, you have Google Scholar, put in some keywords of what interests you, and you'll get all papers and researches that have been done in that area. Go to Shodganga, you'll get some PhDs. In the PhDs, go to the last chapter, that research scholar, but go for some good PhDs, but there are bad PhDs also. So PhDs, good ones, you see the publications, where they have been published. And you'll find in the last chapter one section, studies, further studies. You'll get an idea in an area which is close to you, where studies have not been done, verified by that research PhD person, good person. And then you do further studies and see, further scrutiny, further research, and now here you have got a topic for yourself. So you don't have to beg with people to give you a topic. You yourself find a topic which is close to you. And then is the time to see who could be a potential guide. Because your topic may not be of interest to me. Now, for example, you want to do something on economics. I'm an economics teacher. You want to do something on environmental economics. That's not my forte. Mine is health. I will say no. So then you have to therefore find some person who will be able to be your guide. Next one is journals. Where to publish? Big problem nowadays. Cloned journals and predatory journals. See, the best journal you want to publish, let's presume Economic and Political Weekly. Most of us have heard of that. If there are those fly-by-night unethical publishers, they'll give you the link to the original journal. And you see the editorial board, top class. And you'll say, okay, I'll publish here. But when it comes to payment, that Economic and Political Weekly, say that and was ampersand, they'll make it A and D. You think it's the same one, you pay to the wrong one, you pay to a faulty one, you publish your precious data in a third-class journal. Zero value. So you have to be very, very careful where you are publishing. But these are the challenges, and sometimes time lags are there. You send a paper today based with data they'll reply to you after 2 years. There's no tracking mechanism. Especially the UGC care listed journals, most of them don't have tracking mechanism. Whereas the Scopus ones, which come in UGC care list, they have a robust tracking mechanism. So maybe you should think of Scopus. Now you may come with a counter question that for CAS points you don't need publications. I'm not talking about publication in the context of CAS. I'm talking in the context of the genuineness of your journal. Copyright violations, something that is totally ignored by most of the research scholars and guides also. They talk about plagiarism, but they don't talk about copyright. Now what is copyright violation? So plagiarism is when you borrow something, even though you may change the words, it belongs to somebody else. If you don't cite, you are plagiarizing. You are liable for huge fine and whatever punishments. Now what is copyright? What is copyright? When we copy too much from some source, though you are acknowledging, citing from whom you copied, you are violating copyright norms. If any author has told whatever you copy from my source is, I have 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you need my permission, then you have to take permission. But all authors don't do that because knowledge is supposed to be free. But imagine, dear friends, if you're copying something even in bits and pieces from one book or one journal, you're putting one paragraph in one page, one paragraph at the end of the chapter, another paragraphs in the next chapter, you're splitting it up. But overall would have been a substantial amount. You are breaking the copyright norms. So, how many words can you copy without taking that person's permission? See, if they ask for permission for even one line, you have to take permission. But what if permission requirement is not mentioned? So there is something called as fair use. We can copy either in lump sum or split up in the entire book of yours. They say, unwritten rule, international rule, you should not cross 200 words. So if you go to the best publishers, they will tell you that. The legal team will tell you.